Hi guys, hearing crystal clear here, and as a medical professional, and bro, where do I start? Where do I begin? Where do I start? Where do I begin? Where do I start? Where do I begin? Where do I start?
Probably by tucking your hair inside your mob cap, as that's what it's actually for.
Medical professional.
Because with it half on, you run the risk of looking like a conspiracy theorist playing dress up with her boss's gear, and I'm sure that's not the case.
Say if I lay this down. Say if this was AIDS, and I left it here.
Oh god, I spoke too soon.
There's no way I can come back and pick this up. Coronavirus is not killing people. It's the 5G radiation. Terrorists will just kill you with fucking AIDS. They're trying to introduce a new world order. Bleach kills any and everything. It's just another formation of a bad cold. And they're using this the COVID as a cover-up. Because when they deploy the 5G, that is pure radiation, it causes flu-like symptoms and even cancer and leukemia.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Am I lying or am I lying?
All of column A and all of column B. Okay, this medical professional is no doubt a special kind of stupid, but she's not alone in her belief that the 5th generation of wireless connections, 5G, is either causing COVID-19 infections or is weakening the immune system of people to make them susceptible to COVID-19. Indeed, just 1 week ago, conspiracy theorists burnt down several masts in Birmingham and Liverpool, and if you visit just about any YouTube video on 5G, you'll be astounded, and not in a good way, by the comments. And yes, this comment section will be no different. Now, I'll present the central claims of the conspiracy in the strongest, most convincing way possible in just a moment. But first, let's meet the proponents.
What's happened in the months preceding this outbreak? The introduction of 5G.
You know, I don't know if you guys been paying attention to the 5G conspiracy.
All this coronavirus stuff that's going around, is it to do with the 5G?
But do you know what you're doing now? You're laying 5G.
Yeah.
You realise that, don't you? Yeah? So you know that kills people.
Till we know just what this health hazard is, this radiation, I think we should definitely put a hold on it.
Coronavirus is not killing people. It's the 5G radiation that they're pumping out.
Don't roll it out. Don't get 5G. Stop the government from 5G. It's going to have serious health complications.
While people have been locked down, they have been rolling out more and more and more 5G.
They said the radiation it gives off is very bad and obviously poisons the cells in the body.
I just think they're building 25,000 sort of concentration camps of death in the London Excel right now. It's because of this wire here.
I have a 2.5-year-old son. I'm very concerned about his health.
You know, China had 5G mad early. Rolled it out aggressively at the end of 2019.
November 2019, they rolled that out.
You know, when they turn this on, it's going to kill everyone, and that's why they're building the hospitals.
So, no. Coronavirus is not killing people. It's the 5G radiation that they're pumping out. But you don't think, but I'm here to think for you, okay?
Oh look, she's a dental assistant now. How talented. This, my fellow apes, is a debunk of what I hereby name the COVID 5G conspiracy. Whenever an electromagnetic innovation has emerged, such as radio, television, microwaves and mobile phones, concerns and conspiracies have always followed. And I say concerns and conspiracies because while all conspiracies are concerns, not all concerns are conspiracies. 5G is today's electromagnetic innovation, as it will, in time, profoundly change our lives. That 2-hour film that currently takes you 20 minutes to download, or if you live in a third world country such as my birthplace, the Isle of Wight, 20 hours to download, will on 5G take just 2 seconds. Yes, with a download speed of 1 gigabyte per second, we are likely to see significant advancements in such things as self-driving vehicles and virtual reality. Naturally, just like the television, microwave, mobile phones, 1G, 2G, 3G and 4G, 5G has already suffered a lot of conspiratorial rage. Now don't get me wrong, some of the conspiracies are plausible, such as the potential threat of espionage from Chinese equipment. But the vast majority of 5G conspiracies are logically and scientifically bankrupt. In this video, I'm going to address exclusively the COVID 5G conspiracy, and so if any of you spot someone going full-blown Karen in the comments because I didn't address her favourite 5G conspiracy, then politely tell her to talk to the manager, and I'll tell her to and I'll tell her to leave a comment so I can address it at a later date. Anyhow, the COVID 5G conspiracy falls broadly into two camps. One claims that 5G causes COVID-19 infections by compromising our immune systems.
You're constantly lowering your vibration, which lowers your immune system. Lowered his immune system, and while it's low, the virus comes in.
While the other claims that 5G is COVID-19. That is, that this whole pandemic is a hoax.
Coronavirus is not killing people. It's the 5G radiation that they're pumping out.
Let's deal with the second camp first, which rests on two arguments. The first is that there is a correlation between countries with high cases of COVID-19 and countries with 5G infrastructure.
There has been a dramatic and quantum leap in the last 6 months with the electrification of the Earth. And I'm sure a lot of you know what that is. It's called 5G.
What's happened in the months preceding this outbreak? The introduction of 5G.
You know, China had 5G mad early. Rolled it out aggressively at the end of 2019.
November 2019, they rolled that out.
Anybody want to make one guess as to where the first completely blanketed 5G city in the world was? Wuhan. Exactly.
Except, no, it wasn't. Cities in South Korea and the United States were 5G operational months before Wuhan. But to avoid the red herring, let's focus on the central claim here and take a look at two world maps, one consisting of 5G locations and the other consisting of COVID-19 cases. If all this illness is really due to 5G radiation, then we should see an almost exact one-to-one correspondence between 5G infrastructure and cases of COVID-19. We'd expect locations such as China, the United States and Europe to have lots of cases, and indeed they do, but we would also expect countries such as Iran and Turkey to have no cases. And yet, to the contrary, they too have lots of cases. What's more, we'd expect South Korea and Japan, which are both absolutely saturated with 5G infrastructure, to have astoundingly high numbers of cases, especially considering their massive populations. And yet, they don't. Thus, those who assert that there is a correlation are simply guilty of a false cause fallacy. There is not a sufficient correlation. To put this bluntly, the only way this conspiracy can be maintained is if just about every country, including every relevant faculty of health and science, are lying. Now, I can understand skepticism of China's numbers, but not every country's numbers. If you think that every COVID-19 report is fictional, then, well, I still might be able to help you. Because even if 5G infrastructure and COVID-19 cases did correlate, it would still be fallacious to assert that one caused the other.
Look at this graph.
Take a look at this correlation. As pirate populations went down, global warming has went up. Ask yourself, is this just a coincidence, or is the solution to global warming Jack Sparrow?
You're supposed to be dead. Am I not?
Or here's another one. The number of people who have drowned by falling into a pool has a striking correlation with films that Nicolas Cage has appeared in.
Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey! But I know it will.
Or if we go back just 2 weeks to when COVID-19 was essentially non-existent in Africa, we could have correlated it with exclusively Asians and Caucasians. Oh yeah, that happened. Take a look.
So coronavirus, are we not worried about it at all?
It's fake.
You think it's an agenda?
Yeah, I don't think minorities can't catch it. We straight.
They say that one more time?
Minorities can't catch it.
Minorities can't catch coronavirus.
Nah.
Why do you say? Why do you believe that?
Name one.
I don't know, but it could happen.
Name one, though.
It could happen.
Name one of us.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
For real. The second major claim that's wielded by proponents of the hoax conspiracy is that there are correlations between prior pandemics and prior electromagnetic advancements. Here's how they put it.
Every time there has been a global epidemic pandemic of this type, going back to so-called Spanish flu in 1918 and Asian flu in the 50s and Hong Kong flu in the 60s, that epidemic has followed a major change in the electromagnetic pollution.
Every pandemic in the last 150 years, there was a quantum leap in the electrification of the Earth.
So guys, you can look this up as well. So back in 2003, when 3G was introduced to the world, SARS outbreak, so that was one. And then in 2009, when 4G was introduced, everyone seemed to have this big outbreak of swine flu. And now, 2020, guys, 5G, coronavirus breakout. So what do you think of all this, man?
This tweet on screen, which captures the argument succinctly, went viral just over a week ago, and so let's fact check it. The first claim is that radio waves emerged in 1916, but this is off by nearly 20 years. What's more, Spain, who were heavily hit by the virus, didn't have commercial radio until 1924. The second claim is that SARS and 3G was introduced in 2003, and this is more than less true, as is the third claim that swine flu and 4G was introduced in 2009, and the fourth claim that COVID-19 and 5G emerged in 2019. So there is some correlation, yes, but to illustrate the extremely shoddy work at play here, take a look at this infograph depicting various historical outbreaks. First off, notice that conspiracy theorists simply ignore the massive outbreaks that predate electromagnetic innovations, presumably because they don't fit their narrative. What's more, notice that they use SARS as evidence for the conspiracy, which had just 770 deaths. This is critical because nearly every single year some form of pandemic kills over 700 people, and so what this means is that we can effectively correlate anything with viral outbreaks. For instance, here's proof that the last series of Star Wars was so excruciating that it caused pandemics. Or if we just want to stick to the specific pandemics referred to by conspiracy theorists, then here, take a look at who was on tour before they occurred. Yeah, that's right, Avril Lavigne.
I like to get my anger out, and you know what? Everyone has their own opinion on everybody.
Moving on, let's address the claim that the electromagnetic radiation of 5G is compromising people's immune systems and consequently exacerbating cases of COVID-19.
You're constantly lowering your vibration, which lowers your immune system.
What does 5G do? Its electromagnetic frequencies are enormously more powerful than anything we've faced before. Makes cells toxic.
Because it's going to fry your brain, okay? It's going to fry your insides. It's going to scramble you. It's going to give you cancer. It's going to give you leukemia.
Lowered his immune system, and while it's low, the virus comes in.
With each new generation of wireless connections, the frequency rapidly jumps, and with it so does the same old arguments, only adjusted to the new frequency. When 1G was released, people claimed that its frequencies were ionizing, which is to say that they carry sufficient energy to detach electrons from molecules, or put simply, that they cause cell damage which can lead to such things as skin cancer.
Makes cells toxic.
The FCC, FDA and GSMA, to name just 3 institutions, knew this claim was nonsense before it was even made, as they had already evaluated multiple peer-reviewed meta-analyses of the frequencies produced, which are way below the ionizing threshold. Still, since billions of humans use mobile technology, studies have never stopped, and whenever new technologies emerge, health institutions necessitate extensive studies before giving them the green light. But despite this, the same fear-mongering claims were made about 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. Now don't get me wrong, the frequencies of 5G are significantly higher than 4G, but they're still nowhere near the ionizing threshold. But they are well into the microwave spectrum, and thanks to the appropriately named cooking device that is the microwave, this is where a lot of fear stems from. Proponents argue that since microwaves use microwaves to cook flesh, it follows that because 5G uses microwaves, it too can cook flesh.
Because it's going to fry your brain.
But this is as fallacious as asserting that since hydrojets can use water to amputate limbs, it follows that because this bottle of water uses water, it too can amputate limbs, and that therefore we should avoid water at all costs. So when proponents say, if microwaves are safe, why not stick your head in a microwave? It's akin to saying that if water is safe, why not stick your face in front of a hydrojet? The radio frequency engineer, Andrew McNeil, in a video I've linked below, makes a quite frankly hilarious point. It's strange that conspiracy theorists are not warning everyone about the dangers of TV remotes, isn't it? because the typical TV remote uses an infrared frequency that's at least 300,000 times greater than 5G. So if 5G can damage your immune system, then this, my fellow apes, is a lightsaber.
I too have a new toy, but considerably more practical. You are looking at a
typical television remote.
Makes sense, don't you?
Or to go one step further, consider this light bulb. Yes, I've got a lot of props today. This bulb has an electromagnetic frequency of 630 terahertz, which is over 630,000 times greater than the maximum microwaves of 5G. And so if the proponents of the COVID 5G conspiracy were correct about their claims about microwaves, then light bulbs are pretty much nuclear bombs. So I guess we should just discard them all and go back to the Dark Ages, huh? But just in case you're still not convinced, let's talk about the heat that this bad boy produces. Indeed, light bulbs can get extremely hot, which is a fact that my bearded dragon here very much enjoys. And yes, Ralphie is my all-time favourite prop. But as you all know, household light bulbs are only dangerous if you essentially press yourself against them. Well, the same is true, but to a significantly lesser degree with microwaves. The reason microwave ovens can cook with microwaves is that they're designed to retain every bit of energy possible. Just as the reason that hydrojets can use water to amputate limbs is because they're designed to generate maximum PSI. Thus, the claim that 5G compromises your immune system, let alone that its electromagnetic frequencies
are enormously more powerful than anything we've faced before,
is, tell them Ralphie, absolute nonsense. Or as the NHS England's medical director Stephen Powis put it,
so the 5G story is complete and utter rubbish. It's nonsense. It's the worst kind of fake news. The reality is that the mobile phone networks are absolutely critical to all of us, particularly in a time when we are asking people to stay at home and to not see relatives and friends. But in particular, those are also the phone networks that are used by our emergency services and our health workers.
Before wrapping up, I just want to touch upon something that I didn't earlier as not to poison the well, but this is something you ought to know. Most of the pioneers of the COVID 5G conspiracy have really shady backgrounds. David Icke, for instance, has a rich history of propagating absolutely insane conspiracies, from the world being run by reptiles.
Do you still think the royal family were shape-shifting lizards?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes. There is a predator race which take a reptilian form. They're feeding off humanity. They've turned humanity into a slave race.
To the moon being a spaceship.
I'm saying it's broadcasting something, that it acts as a blocking frequency that stops us seeing and perceiving things that we would normally perceive.
Furthermore, he claims to be the son of God.
You claim to be the son of God.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yes, you see, the thing is that it's quite funny, really. You know, 2,000 years ago, had a guy called Jesus sat here and said these same things, you would still be laughing.
And he endorses a plethora of pseudosciences, such as telepathy.
When we think, we create an energy field. This is how telepathy works.
Reincarnation.
We've all been on this earth and incarnated into different physical bodies many times. It's called reincarnation.
And that colours have emotional properties.
Turquoise actually is the same frequency as an energy called love and wisdom. Therefore, when you wear that colour, you attract it.
And Dr. Thomas Cohen, who's easily the most qualified of the conspiracy theorists, is currently on probation with the California State Medical Board due to his book in which he misrepresents science and fallaciously argues against vaccinating children.
And by the way, as I was going to say earlier, this actually has something to do with the vaccine question.
And while we're on the topic of anti-vaxxers, would you be surprised to learn that they have heavy ties with the COVID 5G conspiracy? At first glance this might seem odd, but once all the pieces of the puzzle are before you, it all makes sense. What we're seeing right now is a world without one vaccination. Let's just let that cook for a second. Indeed, the absence of a vaccine has brought humanity to its knees, and this is incredibly inconvenient for anti-vaxxers. Scientists shattered the pseudoscience of anti-vaxxers decades ago, but when the COVID-19 vaccine emerges and the world once again stands tall, the vast majority of people, the general population, will find anti-vaxxers more ridiculous than ever. Given this, anti-vaxxers are doing everything they can to manipulate the narrative, such as endorsing the various COVID 5G conspiracies. At the present, a lot of people are scared, and when people are scared, they can be easily manipulated to believe irrational things and commit violent acts. Both breeds of the COVID 5G conspiracy are therefore not only vacuous, but dangerous. This is an unprecedented event, and now more than ever we need to share love and laughter rather than unfounded fear. I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed the community spirit that's arisen from this affliction, and in an attempt to do our bit, I've been filming Hannah dressed up as a dinosaur as she stomps past the homes of local children to make them smile. I'll play a compilation of her adventures in just a moment, but first I just want to sign off by saying that I'm Stephen Woodford, thank you kindly for the view, and an extra special thank you to those who support the channel via Patreon. Because of the nature of this video, there's a fair chance that this video won't be considered advertiser friendly, and so again, thanks for putting bread on my table, I appreciate it.
Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, God bless your daughter.
And we got giant dog.
Wow, look at this.